All right, so now we are going to set the high and low PSI, pounds per square inch setting in your tires. The low is going to be very important because that's where you're going to want the alarm to go off, letting you know you have an issue. If that pressure drops to the point or the parameter that you set in here, an alarm will go off and tell you which tire is having the problem. The high, same thing. Once you reach the high limit of the setting that you put in here, an alarm will also go off. Usually that's due to a buildup of heat and that the pressure is expanding in that tire. So to get to this setting, we're going to go ahead and turn on the screen. It's going to power up. First thing you're going to see is you're going to see basically your tow vehicle out here in front. You got the little mirrors, and then this represents the trailer. Down over here, you have your battery indicator light. So that's telling you that the battery is fully charged. We've got 3 dots, and we have a backlight lit up on here. I keep covering the sensor just to get the light up, but that's what it's going to look like at night. During the day, that light will be off. Right now it's set to Fahrenheit and PSI. You can change those measurement settings, but we're going to leave it at that because that's what I'm used to. All right, so let's get into the menu and set the low and high PSI setting. You're going to need to know what specific tire you're running and what the PSI rating is on that. For this, I'm going to use a 10 ply 80 PSI tire as an example. Okay, say I have 80 PSI 10 ply tires. I'm going to go ahead and hold the set button down. It's going to beep, and high pressure is blinking. Now, you don't want to go there first. You want to adjust your low pressure because if this comes factory set and the low pressure is higher than what your high pressure is going to be, it won't surpass it. So we got to go and adjust the low pressure. So I'm going to hit the plus button. Now I have low pressure setting. I'm going to go ahead and hit set. It's going to get me into the screen. Now it's blinking the tires I'm going to set it for. These are the front tires on the tow vehicle blinking now. I need to get back to these trailer tires. As I hit the go button, it's going to cycle through the tires. So I'm going to keep hitting go until I get to, look, it even does a spare tire on the tow vehicle, until I get to my rear tires. Now, when I got into the trailer, you see number 1 lit up. Make sure that you keep it number 1 because that's going to be your main trailer. This is set up to do multiple trailers. So when you're setting these, always make sure you stay on number 1, but get to the rear tires. Okay, this is our low pressure set, and you see it says 70 PSI. That is where I would set my 80 PSI tire as a low. You don't want to go too low because if it's cold outside, your pressure is going to drop and it's going to cause the alarm to go off until that pressure comes up from the tire warming up a little bit. So make sure you go far enough below. 70 PSI is still good because it's 10 PSI under. It'll give you that little bit of forgiveness, but it's still got enough air in there that if you do have an issue, if the tire's losing pressure, that it's not going to start coming apart. If you need to adjust this, all you do is you hit the plus and minus buttons at this time. All right, so my 80 PSI tire, I'm going to set my low pressure set down to 70. That'll give me a little bit of forgiveness for cold weather when it drops in pressure. And still, if I have an issue, there's plenty of air in that tire before it starts coming apart. Now to lock that in, I'm going to go ahead and hit the set button again. It brings me back to the screen and low pressure setting is blinking. Now I'm going to hit the minus button to go back down to high pressure set, and I'm going to hit set. I'm going to do the same thing and get to those rear trailer tires by hitting the go button until I cycle through all the way to the rear set. See, the backlight just went off, and if I cover the sensor, it'll go back on. So I want to make sure my number 1 is lit up, and I'm going to go to my back set of tires, and I already have this set at 90 PSI. That's 10 PSI over the max cold. So if it heats up a little bit, it gives me a little forgiveness the other direction, but keeps me within parameters that if I get too warm because of maybe a seized bearing, a hung up brake assembly, I know soon enough before that tire comes apart. Okay? So if you need to adjust this again, it's your plus and minus. But for my 80 PSI tire, I put it at 90. To lock that in, I'm going to hit set. Once I'm done, I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to turn it back on. Now notice you're not going to see any tires showing up on the screen because we haven't assigned or programmed the sensors for their certain position yet. We're going to do that in just a minute. Next, we're going to show you how to set the temperature setting.